Hey everyone! So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my personal experience with the online therapy apps Betterhelp and Talkspace. If you don't know me, my name is Chelsea, and this is my very first video on my channel where I plan to talk about mental health related topics. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, then please consider subscribing. So first, I'm going to talk about what Betterhelp and Talkspace actually are. So these are both apps where you can receive online therapy through either your phone or your computer. The method of therapy that's used through these apps are texting, voice messaging, or video chat. So once you go through the questionnaire and you choose a therapist, you have access to a private chat room with them 24/7. Apps like Betterhelp and Talkspace can really help people who may not have insurance, people who may have agoraphobia or experience triggers outside of the home, people who don't have a car and can't commute to a therapist, or those who are just more comfortable at home in their own setting, and then that would help them to open up to the therapist even more than face-to-face therapy would. So now I'm going to go into my personal experience with each app. On Betterhelp, you can get individual, teen, or couples counseling. The cost is $40 to $70 a week, and that's billed monthly. It depends on what type of counseling you get. The couples counseling is going to be a little more expensive than individual, so that's kind of how they scale it. So during the time that I was on Betterhelp, I had 3 different counselors. If you get a counselor that you don't think is a good fit for you, you can request a counselor change, which I would highly recommend if you don't like your counselor. It's very important to get somebody that you connect with and somebody that is actually there to help you. The first counselor that I had on Betterhelp was a woman. She seemed super sweet at first. She was asking me questions, why I was there, what I wanted help with, and I was telling her that I just wanted help with my general anxiety and that my panic attacks were getting way worse, so I really wanted help with that. She first suggested a few different coping techniques that we could try, things like meditation and mindfulness, and while those are great techniques for so many people, those are just things that have not worked for me in the past. Maybe because I haven't given them enough of a try or given them enough time, but meditating makes me so anxious. I cannot sit still. My mind won't stop racing. Can't do it. But I told her this. I explained to her that those are things that I've tried and they just didn't work for me. So she responded and said, well, if you've already tried everything, I can't help you. So I requested a counselor change, and I got my second counselor, who was an older gentleman. So on Betterhelp, like I mentioned earlier, most of it is texting, but you can also video chat or voice message. The first message that he sent me was wanting to set up a video chat. And I wasn't comfortable with that. The whole reason that I was on Betterhelp in the first place was because I was too anxious to actually go to a therapist and sit in the office with someone face to face. So I told him this, I told him that I wasn't comfortable with that, and he said, oh, that's fine. That's something that we can work on and build towards to help you get to that point where you're comfortable with it. So I said, okay, that sounds great, very helpful. Well, every single day, he requested to video chat with me. And I kept telling him that I wasn't comfortable with that yet. We hadn't even really worked on anything. And he just basically told me that I needed to get over my fear so that we could talk face to face. I didn't message him back after that. I quickly requested a counselor change once again, and I had my third counselor, who was a super sweet girl. She was probably around my age. We started texting, and she was very, very nice. I could tell that she was very attentive and really listening to me, but I think that was about it. I kind of felt like I was texting a friend more than a counselor, so I didn't really want to pay $40 to text someone that I could get the same response from my boyfriend or from one of my friends. So that was the last counselor that I had on Betterhelp. I figured after 3 counselors, I didn't really like it. It wasn't going to work for me. So next, I want to talk about my experience with Talkspace. Talkspace also has individuals, couples, and teen counseling, but their costs are a little bit different than BetterHelp. So there are 3 different packages you can get, I guess you could say. For unlimited texting, video, and voice messaging, it is $179 a month, which comes out to be $49 weekly. So the next tier up from that gets you unlimited text, voice, and video messaging, and it also gets you 1 live session every month with your therapist, and that is $236 a month, which comes out to be $59 weekly. The next tier up from that gets you unlimited text, voice, and video messaging, plus 4 live sessions with your therapist every month, and that is $316 a month or $79 a week. So Talkspace is one that I just most recently had. I actually only ended up having 1 therapist on Talkspace, and she was amazing. I loved her so much. She was very professional. She helped me so much. She gave me a lot of valuable things to take with me as coping skills. She was funny. She was personable. She was just like great. The reason that I left Talkspace is because it got too expensive for me to keep up with. I'm a full-time student in college, and the only thing that I do for money is walking dogs on the side. So $196 was expensive for me. I needed to find a therapist that was going to take my insurance so I wouldn't have to pay anything. Which is very unfortunate because I really loved my therapist, and I told her that when I left. Even when you stop your subscription to the apps, you still get access to that chat room with your therapist, and so I can go back and read all of the messages that she sent me, all the coping techniques that she gave me, ways to change my mindset. So I have saved those. I've screenshotted everything that she sent me. It really helps when I'm having a panic attack or when I'm really anxious one day. I go back and look at those messages and see what she's told me to do in the past, and I just keep doing that because it has been working. I do recommend that if you have a severe or prolonged mental illness, to seek in-person therapy. I personally think that these apps are just a way to kind of ease into therapy, but if you are really struggling, I suggest that you find someone in your area to actually go into their office and talk to. One reason I say this is because in Talkspace's terms of service, they actually say that none of their providers can give an official diagnosis, a court order, or prescribe any medications. So if you need one of those things, definitely seek help that is in your area locally. Alright guys, so that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've used one of these therapy apps, let me know in the comments below. What were your experiences like? I always love to hear experiences other than mine. So thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you in the next one.